Exclusive contract novels from Feilu Novel Network. Counting the top 10 high-latitude transcendent worlds, Supreme Scaring Urine Qingheng travels through the wilderness, binds to the Book of Hongmeng Avenue, and inventories the various heavens and realms to cultivate the mythical Great Luo. So, inventory of the top 10 planes for the birth of transcendent creatures Cthulhu world. The one who controls time, space and order. The Lord of all things with origin. Foundation world. Almighty and Supreme Divinity. The yellow-clothed jester who messes with everything. The upper-level malicious transformation of the Crimson Demon. One by one, the transcendent powerhouses of the terrifying world are presented to the heavens and realms by Qingheng. Countless creatures have numb scalp. So there is a sacrificial path above the Immortal Emperor. The sacrificial path is not the end either. The sage's body and the heavenly way dominate everything. Is there a world without dragons? It's deeply ingrained in my heart. Hiss. Is this the realm that cultivation can reach? Are you joking with me? Just as sentient beings thought the inventory was over, Qingheng smiled slightly. There is also the last worldFeilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Commitment letter. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Adhere to originality and eliminate non-compliant commitment letters. XXX, guarantee that the signed work belongs to my own original creation and strictly follow the Feilu Writers' Convention during the creation process. I adhere to originality and eliminate the following violations. If there are any violations, I am willing to bear all consequences arising from this one. Ensure that the signed work belongs to one's own original work and does not involve plagiarism or plot plagiarism in Chinese translation. 2. Ensure that no third-party works or plot are plagiarized during the creative process. 3. Ensure that this work is first published and the only contracted website on Feilu Novel Network. 3. Ensure compliance with laws and regulations during the creative process, including but not limited to, violations such as not involving politics, not involving pornography, gambling, drugs, promoting cults, not ghostwriting, not blocking or abolishing manuscripts, not hosting, not selling works or accounts, etc. 4. Ensure that regardless of the word count of the work, the signed work must complete the plot, never end, and never stop or end. 3 things to do when reading. Read, collect, and reward. Chapter 2. Hongjun. How could there be such a powerful existence beyond the wilderness? You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the wilderness, Mount Shumi. Demon ancestor Luo Gui held a god-killing spear and used the power of heaven and earth to set up 4 formations to kill immortals, fighting alone against fellow quasi-saints Hongjun, Yangmei, as well as the Qianquan and Yinyang ancestors. The battle has been ongoing for an unknown amount of time, and there are corpses scattered throughout this area, with the weakest being the Tai Golden Immortal. Hongjun resisted the attack with the Pangu flag while speaking faintly of his heart attack. Luo Ting. You have added many murders now, which is unacceptable to heaven. I am here to eliminate demons for heaven. Don't resist in a corner anymore. Hahaha, it's hard to bear the consequences of bullshit. Once I become a saint and conform to the heavenly way, I will be the heavenly way. Luo Yen laughed and waved his long spear, with a terrifying aura that annihilated countless laws. The weaker Qianquan and Yinyang ancestors found it increasingly difficult to parry. The battle was raging, and they suddenly sensed some kind of information passing through their hearts, calling for their attention. The 5 quasi-saints can perceive that this information is directly transmitted through the heavenly way. They were taken aback, tacitly stopped and looked up at the sky. Why does the heavenly way send a message? Is it possible that someone has secretly become a saint? Luo Yen roared. He worked hard to lay out countless elemental guilds, stirring up chaos among the 3 innate tribes, just to become a saint. How can one accept the heavenly way's choice of others? Hongjun furrowed his brow and secretly pinched his fingers to prepare for deduction, but he almost suffered a heavy backlash and quickly rested his hand. The other three ancestors were also full of disbelief for a moment. When they calm down, they do not believe that someone has become a saint, because the Heavenly Way sage is not formed by practicing silently, and must rely on magnificent feats. They cannot be unaware at all. Not long after, the ethereal sound came. Counting the heavens. The top 10 birth planets of transcendent creatures. Indeed, it was not the birth of the Heavenly Way sage, but it surprised and shocked them even more surprisingly. There is a certain existence above the Heavenly Way that has issued a proclamation. Hongjun was shocked by the identity of the voice's owner in his heart. What kind of means is this? Surprisingly, it is possible to use the Heavenly Way as the backdrop for communication. And since it is an inventory of the heavens, it must not only be on the level of the flood and wilderness, but also on the level of the heavens and the myriad realms. Interesting. Luo Ting's face lit up with joy. Originally, I only intended to advance to the primordial Heavenly Way and disdain other planes, but if there were already planes that gave birth to transcendent beings, there would still be some fun of conquering them. The Qiankuan and Yinyang ancestors were not interested. The plane that gives birth to transcendent beings. Not enough Dao air. At the beginning of the birth of the Honghuang era, after a long and arduous journey of billions of years, no living beings have yet transcended, not because they are too weak, but because their planes are too high. Both of them believed that the world in the inventory was definitely incomparable to the wasteland. Perhaps the so-called transcendent creatures could not be compared to the Tai Golden Immortal in the wasteland. Compared to the other four quasi-saints, Yang Mei's mood was the most complex at this moment. Like Hongjun, he was shocked by someone who could use the Heavenly Way to transmit messages, and his mood changed like Luo Ting's. Is there such a powerful existence beyond the wilderness? As the reincarnation of the chaos space demon god, I should have broken free from all constraints and roamed freely in the endless universe, but I am still in a corner of the wilderness and want to compete for the Heavenly Way of the wilderness. It is really ridiculous. At the same time, countless cultivators were discussing extensively throughout the flood and wilderness. Two brothers, do you think this unknown powerhouse can help us deduce the method of cultivation by inventing the heavens? Kunlun Mountain, within a vast innate formation, looked excited. Yuan Shi and Tai Shang exchanged a glance, both full of anticipation for it. Similar dialogues also take place between Fuxi and Nyuhua, as well as between Xin and Zhuanti in the west. The more advanced one's cultivation, the more they can perceive the mystery of this sound. They see it as having no chance and patiently wait for the next content. Not just in the wilderness. Qingheng's voice pierced through every page of the Xianjin book and appeared in the long river of time in the heavens and realms, transmitting to countless beings. Perfect world. The Emperor of the wilderness stood in the midst of the mountains of corpses and the sea of blood. He knew the existence of a strange tribe and planned to embark on an expedition to the Eta Plateau. At this moment, he heard a voice coming from outside the world, and a solemn expression appeared on his face. What kind of realm is the existence of this Chuanin statue? As the Immortal Emperor, I am completely unable to pry into it. Is his cultivation still far above that of the Immortal Emperor? I believe this inventory of the heavens is definitely extraordinary. I should pass on the message to the past, so that the former me and the cultivators at that time can gain opportunities from it, perhaps enhancing my ability to deal with the mysterious clan. As for whether it will also improve the former enemies, he doesn't care at all. The defeated enemies will eventually be defeated by him again. Why don't we just send it back to the eve of the border wilderness war? At that time, my mood was relatively mature. So, by chance, the Emperor of Wilderness helped Qingheng open up the long river of time in the perfect world, allowing more creatures to receive the message of the Heavenly Way. The immortal kings of the exotic realm, many immortal kings of the immortal realm, and even the 4 emperors of the realm C were all intimidated by the sudden sound that appeared deep in their souls. What kind of existence is it? Can you comment on countless aspects? Looking back at the long river of time from the future, Yi He, along with the ruthless empress and the Wuxia emperor, stared at each other in astonishment. The three of them immediately recalled that they had already finished the inventory in another time and space. The shock and excitement at that time are still vividly remembered to this day. If the Emperor of Wilderness sees it now, perhaps he can establish contact with us in advance and discuss a plan to resist the strange invasion. Another time and space's bullet finger covers the sky world. All the supreme beings in the restricted area have revived. At first, they mistakenly thought that the Heavenly Way's abnormal movement was the early opening of the Immortal Road, and they were all restless. If it weren't for the sound of Qingheng coming from behind, these supreme beings would probably have been mobilized. At the beginning of the ancient mine, the Qilin Emperor was overjoyed. This majestic and unparalleled extraterrestrial sound must come from the highest existence in the immortal realm. Is it to inspire those who want to become immortals? Although it is said that the wilderness impacts the immortal realm and becomes immortals, the supreme beings in these forbidden areas cannot confirm the true existence of the immortal realm. Now, the sound from outside the sky has undoubtedly given them a reassuring pill. In the immortal mountain, Emperor Shi laughed heartily. Transcendent beings are also immortals, right? Then the world of Tanjizhitian must be on the list. I heard that in the chaotic ancient era, there was an emperor of the wilderness who ascended to immortality. Soon after, the path of immortality will be opened again. I am a born Holy Spirit who proves to be an emperor, and I will definitely be able to become an immortal against heaven. There are many supreme beings who originally had no courage to compete for the immortal road, but are also preparing to enter the venue next time. After all, they have never smelled the cake of immortality so clearly before, and it is worth fighting hard for it. It can be expected that the next opening of Qingxian Road will be a far more bloody experience than before. Dominate the world. The three great lords, Lord Mukan, Emperor Yan Xiaoyan, and Wu Zulandong, gathered together. I don't know who is inventorying the various celestial planes. Is there such a powerful mysterious existence in the vast world? Xiao Yan had some palpitations. Since he was promoted to the realm of domination and left a name on the heavenly list of the vast world, there has never been anything beyond his control in this world. However, this voice made him feel incredibly small. Lin Dong thought for a moment and said, maybe this voice comes from the heavenly sky list. It's to give Xiao Qian a world ranking. After hearing this, Mu Chen arched his hand and smiled, saying, congratulations to Brother Xiao and Brother Lin first. Both of you have risen from the little thousand world and now have become the strongest in the great thousand world. Your fighting spirit and martial arts skills are bound to be at the top of the list. 3 things to do when reading. Read, collect, and reward. Chapter 3. Sound spreads to the heavens, attracting the attention of all worlds. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dragon Talisman World. The Yong Dynasty. Lu Baiyue's vermilion lips lifted lightly, and his expression was excited. My cultivation as the Chaotian Fu Emperor is unfathomable. A single bit of power can intimidate Xiao Xiao, and my true body can suppress many deities beyond the chaos of countless spaces. The Emperor will surely lead our world to the list. Everyone in the court and the public is full of confidence. It is not an exaggeration for the Heavenly Talisman Emperor to say that he is the first emperor in history. There is a great power that the whole world dare not disobey, and this world will definitely be able to make a name for it. On the other hand, the 3 heavenly sovereigns of Yuangu, Bodhisattva, and Dosheng were quite surprised. Is it my illusion? There was an aura of the heavenly way in the voice just now. It seems like someone is sending messages from the heavenly way. Is it possible that there is an existence above the heavenly way in the endless continent and billions of dimensions? We must not surpass the heavenly way before we have tasted it. Now that we are immortal and live the same life as the heavens, the heavenly way also restricts us. I believe we are the transcendent beings that the voice said, and we can be in the same realm as him in the future. Haha, that's reasonable. Even if Emperor Fu of ancient times was extremely talented and rebellious, he would still be inferior to our generation. After being targeted by the heavenly Tao, he couldn't escape death and couldn't escape like us in the end. The Immortal Qin Universe. In the front hall of the Afang Palace, Emperor Yingzheng, dressed in a black and golden dragon robe, sat high on a dragon chair. As the Supreme Emperor of the world, he was in chaos at this moment. He scanned the hall of civil and military affairs and asked. Can the beloved ministers hear the fairy whispering just now? Zhao Gao took the lead and bowed, saying, Congratulations to your majesty. The transmission of the immortal's message is a sign of auspiciousness. Our immortal Qin Empire will surely unify the world. It will continue to prosper forever. All officials bowed in unison, Congratulations to your majesty. The sound was deafening. Yingzheng felt lost in his heart, and among the officials in the court, no one knew his thoughts, even Zhao Gao, who was always good at guessing, was no exception. He is full of confidence in the conquest of the entire world by the Xianqin Empire and does not need these congratulations. What has been bothering him lately is his own lifespan. He feels more and more that his body is no longer young. When the time comes, what is the point of conquering everything? The alchemists of Xianqin can certainly prolong his life, but if he fails to become an immortal, he will inevitably die. Send me the order, all the alchemists of the empire, listen carefully to the immortal's words. I want them to find the method of immortality from it. I want to rule the immortal Qin for billions of years. Zhao Gao's eyes twitched and he lifted his head to offer advice. Your Majesty, why not send someone to search for the immortal's residence and ask him to leave the mountain? Emperor Shiryu said, Good. Qingheng did not limit his projection range to the fantasy and cultivation world, and naturally would not overlook the larger number of other planes. One Piece World. The strongest man, Bai Huzi, is leading a large fleet straight to the headquarters of the Navy. Even if this trip declares war on the Navy and stirs up the entire sea, it is necessary to rescue Izihuachuan AC. In the center of the deck of the Mobidic, with a white beard and a dull face, he tilted his head. Is it a deity? Just now when he heard that voice, he couldn't help but feel in awe, even though he had one of the best domineering colors in the world, and even though the voice didn't deliberately exert any pressure. Marco walked forward and smiled, saying, Dad, you have reached the pinnacle of your three-color dominance, shaking the fruits and destroying the heavens and earth. As the freest man on the sea, you must be what the gods call a transcendent being. Gulalala. Whitebeard laughed heartily, Sons, this will be a signal of our victory. Now that I am sick, I can still crush the Navy. And in the holy land of Maria, the 5-star conference hall. Mercury worried and said, Lord IMM has lived for nearly 1,000 years and possesses incredible power. He is already close to God, isn't he? If our world is on the list, will his existence be exposed? Oh, what about exposure? Satan snorted coldly, isn't this the right time? When Lord IMM becomes a transcendent creature chosen by the gods, it can also deter Whitebeard and the increasingly disobedient warring states. Ninja World. Sasuke, who traveled alone to various countries, felt a sense of empathy and stared blankly at the sky. It's a voice from a different world. Unlike chakras and magic, it's a power that I completely cannot understand. So strong. Is it the creator of countless worlds? Then he smiled confidently. The ninja realm will definitely make it onto the list. There are too many strong beings who have exceeded the limits of humanity, but I don't know if I, who has the 6 elements of the Jade Reincarnation Eye, and that fool with the 6 paths of immortal mode, can be considered a transcendent creature. In Kiba village, Naruto also has the same idea. Even if Sasuke and I don't count towards each other, we can still count towards the sealed Otomoki Kanzuya. That guy is an existence that can't even be killed. Dragon Ball World. Frieza, who was resurrected after the Power Conference, has now advanced to the Golden Form, and his explosive power has made him even more inflated. What kind of thing, isn't there only 12 universes in total? Why bother selecting the top 10 planes? Which 2 weak universes can't make it to the list? The 7th universe where this great king is located will definitely win first. Although there are 4 universes with stronger average strength, who would say this is a comparison of transcendent beings? The great king of Ben Frieza is the most powerful haha. Sun Wukong, who had already mastered the Ziji Gong, ignited his combative soul and exclaimed with great excitement. Transcendent beings are hidden powerhouses of various universes, right? Great. I hope to have the opportunity to challenge them. Poor Wukong still doesn't know what kind of impact his young soul will face after reading the inventory, the supernatural universe. Is this voice that makes me unable to resist the ultimate manifestation of fear's will? Demon Nebula King City, Queen Morgana felt a little palpitated, but more of a surprise than words. Kaisha, you foolish and arrogant stinky pool, how can you explain it with your cosmic physics laws? Only corruption and evil can conform to the will of the universe and overcome the shadow of ultimate fear. The bullshit theory of angel civilization will eventually collapse. In the sacred palace of angelic civilization, angels are lost in their coldness. Queen Caesar, none of our detection methods can trace the origin of sound. This is beyond our civilized understanding. Holy Caesar is actually very calm. It's not surprising, since this voice is going to list the top 10 planes, it must come from outside our universe, and it's normal for it to not be detected. However, with the infinite progress of angel civilization, the outside of the universe will no longer be mysterious. Angel Yen felt immense pride rising in his heart. I believe our universe will definitely make it to the list. Queen Caesar, you have a divine body, and even among transcendent beings, you will be the supreme existence. Holy Caesar couldn't conceal a smile on her face, thinking to herself, if she entered this inventory, wouldn't she be able to spread the theocratic ideas of angelic civilization to other universes? Box Court World. On the 16th night, I stayed in the White Yiksha room, discussing the topic of gentlemen, but was interrupted by the voice of Qingheng. Is it a world inventory? Interestingly, the Box Court World is perfect and can definitely rank high, but my existence goes against the common sense of the Box Court World. I am a transcendent being, right? I chuckled back to 16 nights. White Yiksha shook the small paper fan and squeezed its mouth. Which round did I get you? There are 3 strongest species in the Box Court. Star Spirit, Natural Spirit, and Dragon Pure Blood. There are also many strong beings in the omnipotent and plenipotential realms, as well as the White Knight Demon King mentioned by Tiandong. You should go back a bit. 3 things to do when reading. Read, collect, and reward. Chapter 5. A person's heavenly court, declaring war alone in the dark. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The wild long hair in the picture is scattered, with no sadness or joy on the face, and the supreme law flowing all over the body. With a sword wielded, the brilliant light engulfs the eternal sky. Qingheng told the creatures of all heavens and all realms. The representative of a perfect world transcending living beings is the Wilderness Emperor, whose real name is Shihao. In the late years of the chaotic era, he was born in the wasteland of the 9 heavens and 10 earths, one of the 8 realms of the lower realm prison. He belonged to the imperial family of the Stone Kingdom. When he was young, his supreme bone was taken by his brother Shi Yi's mother as his son, and he almost died. He traveled to the great wilderness stone village and miraculously survived. His talent was amazing from a young age, and after several twists and turns, he was reborn as the Supreme Bone. At the age of 14, he was in the same realm, beheading the double pupils of the Supreme Stone and rediscovering his bone feud. The lower realm of the 7 gods is a disaster wasteland. After killing all the gods, Shihao died and recovered after a year. He stepped on the sky and left, sweeping through all the young and supreme beings in the upper realm under the name of Wasteland, earning the title of Immortal Ancient first. He entered the Heavenly God Academy and developed an innovative cultivation system, using himself as a Taoist seed to stimulate the ultimate potential of the human body's secret realm. Coincidentally, a foreign invasion of the 9 heavens and 10 earths led him to join the army in the border wilderness. One person suppressed the foreign emperor's pride and made it difficult for him to hold his head high. Later, he fused the emperor's blood and expelled the immortal king of the foreign land. At the end of this battle, Huang continuously improved the path of human body cultivation. At the age of 200, he reached the pinnacle of humanity and achieved the title of Red Dust Immortal by living in reverse for 9 lifetimes. Once he became an immortal, he could rival the immortal king. At this time, the dark turmoil began to emerge. Huang felt the urgency of time and was eager to break through the immortal king realm, but was killed by 3 vengeful immortal kings. After being buried in the burial ground for 500,000 years, a trace of the primordial spirit awakened and arrived in the immortal realm, stepping into the realm of the immortal king, suppressing the giants, sweeping away a group of strong enemies, and after hundreds of thousands of years of strong breakthroughs in quasi-saints, conquering foreign lands, and killing to the point where no one dared to claim respect. Then, the dark disaster arose, setting up a person's heavenly court and declaring war alone against the eerie darkness of the world sea. After battling for tens of thousands of years to destroy 4 dark quasi-immortal emperors, they went to a strange ancient land and encountered the resurrection of the Dark Source's corpse Immortal Emperor. With a sword that turned into billions of blood rain, they scattered into countless time and space for cultivation, ultimately achieving the Supreme Immortal Emperor through unity. They were dictatorial for eternity, isolated from strangeness, and left a perfect world for all beings. The life of Emperor Huangtian was narrated by Qingheng in a calm and gentle tone, not a word at all. But amidst the magnificent waves, upon hearing the ears of sentient beings in the perfect world, it was as if thunderbolts were exploding in their minds. This is also too shocking. From the 9 heavens and 10 earths to the immortal realm, exotic realm, burial earth, and the mighty ones in the realm sea, they are all dumbfounded, killed to the point where no one dares to claim respect. His meowing is outrageous. What's even more outrageous is, unexpectedly, the Emperor of Wilderness has broken through to the realm above the immortal king. Still 2 realms. Which immortal king is not a stunning ancient and modern figure of an era? Isn't this wild emperor a genius among geniuses, a demon among demons? What shocked them the most was that the emperor of the wild in the inventory was not from an old monster in the distant past, but from the present. In the chaotic era, they will witness the birth of a peerless immortal emperor. Most of the powerful beings at the level of the immortal king have pale faces at this time. Some of them have become immortal kings for hundreds of thousands of years, some have been for millions of years, and some have countless years. There are giants who have reached the pinnacle of the immortal king. As the top experts in the eyes of the world, they have arrogance. How could they accept being mercilessly left behind by a newcomer for a moment? What's even more infuriating is that latecomer even broke through to the legendary realm of the immortal emperor. This is their lifelong wish that they never dreamed of. They didn't even know that there was a quasi-immortal realm before the immortal emperor. The most intense reaction was among the immortal kings of the foreign lands, and at this moment none of them were burning with anger. In that dilapidated corner of the 9 heavens and 10 earths, how could such a little beast be born? One person has pacified our foreign land. He. How can he grow up like this? The entire universe in a foreign land is stirring up, which is the anger of many immortal kings. The intention of boundless destruction is spreading, and the laws of immeasurable surging are rolling. Giant figures that shake the world fly out from various imperial clans and converge towards the refining pot. There was a terrifying roar from the refining pot, and the eternal Tao light burst out, revealing a strange old man with a silver cross in his pupils. He is the most powerful Kundi from a foreign land, constantly transforming in the refining pot. If it weren't for hearing that there would be a catastrophic disaster in a foreign land, he wouldn't have left the level. The immortal kings have never met so grandly before, and this time a dozen or so statues have emerged together. Even the giants who had been silent for an era were present. Yu Tuo said with a gloomy face. Not long after, our domain will attack the 9 heavens and 10 earths, and we don't know if the wasteland in the inventory is the one who joined the army in this war. An immortal king spoke coldly, regardless of whether it is true or not, this time we will directly wipe out the 9 heavens and 10 lands, and we will never suffer again. Anlan smiled angrily with her hands down. The survival of our domain is at stake, and we will not hesitate to pay even the greatest price. Even if the immortal domain intervenes again, the 9 heavens and 10 lands must be destroyed. No living creature can stay. Numerous immortal kings have come to an end with their murders. The majestic killing intent almost condensed into substance, boiling in the void, causing the collapse of all orders and blooming with endless destruction. If there were true immortals or even quasi-immortal kings here, they would be directly destroyed by the killing intent. Yu Tuo frowned and shook his head, saying, "But we are separated from the 9 heavens and 10 earths by the heavenly abyss, and it is not easy to transport power that can destroy the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Why cross the heavenly abyss? It would be better if we could gather our strength and completely destroy the 9 heavens and 10 territories from outside the boundary sea." The Red King pondered the laws of time, feeling a sense of ominous and extremely cautious towards the wilderness. Kundi, the leader of the immortal king from a foreign land, listened quietly and finally spoke up. "Don't be impatient, even if you have the resources of an immortal emperor, you are currently just an ant who is not even a fairy. This plan exposed him to us in advance, and it's not easy to kill him. Completely destroying the 9 heavens and 10 earths is not worth the loss." The other giant Wushan also said later. "The key to the origin of our ancient artifacts is still in the 9 heavens and 10 earths, which contains the opportunity to break through the immortal emperor. Just because of a young generation who has not yet grown up, should we end all of this?" The statements of the 2 supreme ancestors allowed the immortal kings of the exotic world to control their anger and continue watching the inventory, hoping to uncover the secrets of the ancient artifacts. On the other side of the immortal realm, the atmosphere will be much more relaxed. Although the immortal kings were initially unhappy, they quickly adjusted their mentality. The birth of the wilderness emperor is definitely a great good thing for the immortal realm. Have you not heard that the emperor of the wild has quelled the dark turmoil? If there were no emperor of the wild sky blocking in front, how could these immortal kings withstand it? That's 4 dark quasi-immortal emperors. There is also a true dark immortal emperor. It's too scary. In the midst of joy and excitement, the immortal king of Qiyu also had some worries. "I'm afraid the current wasteland has already been targeted by foreign lands, right? Even those corrupt giants in the realm will see the wasteland as a thorn in their side and a thorn in their flesh. Our immortal realm cannot sit idly by while the wasteland emperor is strangled in the cradle." He decided to gather a group of immortal kings to protect the wilderness, at least to bring it to the realm of immortal kings. Ao Sheng, the immortal king, paid close attention to the inventory screen. He didn't care about the life or death of the wasteland, he only longed to obtain the method of promoting the wasteland to the immortal emperor from the inventory. As the supreme immortal king, Ao Sheng believes that as long as he understands how to break through the realm, he will definitely be able to break through smoothly. In that case, whether to die or live in the wilderness is not important, or rather, dying in the wilderness is more important. In the dark heavenly court, the 3 dark quasi-immortal emperors have now shown their intention to kill. 2 of you, how much do you believe in the inventory content? Emperor Tsang asked Emperor Yu and Emperor Hong. Emperor Yu coldly replied, "Perhaps it's all true." Emperor Hong was shocked and said, "The 3 of us have achieved the status of quasi-immortal emperor for an unknown number of years, and the senior elder who destroyed the world has even touched upon the realm of immortal emperor. Even if that wilderness breaks through to the realm of quasi-immortal emperor, he cannot compete with us, can he?" Emperor Yu shook his head and said, "Anyway, now he has entered our sight. When he becomes the immortal king and sets foot in the world, there are only two options for him: surrender or death. Emperor Tsang laughed and said, "I hope this young generation doesn't be disrespectful." Then they continued to watch the inventory with a more serious attitude than anyone else, because only they had truly come into contact with the corpse of the immortal emperor and knew how terrifying his aura was. That is a projection in my mind that is far beyond comparison. Surprisingly, during the inventory, it was mentioned that the corpse of the immortal emperor was resurrected. And there was also a breakthrough in the realm of the immortal emperor. They are all eager to glimpse the mystery of the immortal emperor. 3 things to do when reading. Read, collect, and reward. Chapter 4. Wilderness. The strongest transcendent is actually myself. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the endless river of chaos, there are countless strange and bizarre worlds. The top powerhouses of the heavens and all realms, including emperors who rule the world, divine emperors who dominate the immortal dynasty, rulers who are revered by all races, as well as the sons of destiny from various levels, are all attracted by the voice of Qingheng. Some of them are looking forward to it, while others are extremely certain that they will be able to see their own world in the inventory. Qingheng continued softly. The great road flows, time flies, and in an instant, countless worlds are born and destroyed. All beings are trapped in a heavenly way and cannot be at ease. Only by transcending can they not be burdened by the world. I have selected the top 10 planes from the long river of time that give birth to transcendent beings, ranking them in no particular order, and reflecting them on the various heavenly beings. Among them, the path of freedom is free, and those who are destined to find it will find it themselves. As soon as the words fell, the creatures of the world suddenly realized that unfamiliar scenes began to flash in their minds. They immediately knew that this was the first world on the list. The vast wilderness of rocky villages, towering ancient cities with continuous high walls, countless exotic beasts, and boundless battlefields like purgatory. These images are not perceived by the eyes, and can be immersed in viewing with just mental attention. Not only that, they can also hear the voices of other creatures as they watch, complex yet not chaotic. This world is so primitive, with technology falling behind to the extreme. It seems that I overestimated other universes. Holy Caesar, superdivine world, sigh. There is a lot of immortal grass in this heaven and earth. Is this the immortal realm? Emperor Zun, pointing to the heavenly world, Emperor Zun, did you not die? Undead Emperor, pointing to the heavenly world, as the picture surfaced, Qingheng slowly spoke up. The first level on the list. Perfect world. Accompanied by the words, the complete picture of the perfect world is presented in the minds of all sentient beings. Countless destructive substances and chaotic abyss drift in the void, forming an endless ocean of destruction, scattered with a world of scattered vitality, mainly consisting of 4 regions. A domain composed of 19 broken worlds, connecting 3 other complete and massive domains in the midst of heaven. The Emperor of Wilderness saw the image from his memory and raised his eyebrows slightly, then nodded and said, "The heavens that I was born into are called the perfect world." Although I was surprised to see the perfect world as soon as I first saw it, it was only natural that I had already jumped out of the heavens after being independent for eternity. The perfect world of the pastime and space, on the eve of the battle of borderland and wilderness, the inventory content was spread back by the future Emperor of Wilderness. Countless cultivators from various domains felt inexplicable familiarity from the inventory screen and fell into a state of stagnation. 9 days and 10 places. The religious leaders of 3,000 provinces are all dumbfounded. What is this aura? Can't you? This is our world. 9 heavenly sovereigns, the hidden remnants of immortals, the true immortals and immortal kings in the forbidden zone, and the 10 ferocious creatures are all amazed. Hiss. Those 19 broken boundaries in the picture are definitely 9 days and 10 places without a doubt. Oh my goodness. Our world is actually on this list. Isn't it just us, the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Are exotic, immortal, and burial grounds also considered to be in the same world as us? They are collectively known as the perfect world. I was stunned and completely dumbfounded when I just received the Immortal Sutra in the ultimate trial place. Has our world ever given birth to transcendent beings? What kind of existence is it? In foreign lands, the immortal kings were also shocked, not expecting that their own world would be the first to appear in the inventory. What? Kundi inside the refining pot opened his eyes fiercely, unable to maintain composure. Is there a transcendent being in this world? How come I don't know? Is it not the owner of the origin of ancient artifacts? He can only think of such a possibility. Other immortal kings also had the same idea. In addition to being shocked, their eyes became fanatical. Perhaps they could unravel the secret of the origin of ancient artifacts through inventory. In the immortal realm, a group of immortal kings widened their eyes in disbelief as they gazed at the deep world sea in the picture, with waves of fear surging in their hearts. How could there be our world? If there are truly transcendent beings in this world, there is a high probability that they will be dark beings deep within the realm of the sea. The root of chaos in the heavens. This is huge bad news for them. Is darkness unbeatable? The immortal kings determined to resist the dark cleansing gathered towards the Qiyu immortal prince's mansion. Within the borderless sea, Emperor Yu and Emperor Hong found Emperor Tsang sitting in the dark sky. Is it a perfect world? The food from various regions is constantly being harvested, and it's truly a perfect world. I didn't expect this world to be the first to make it to the list, but I don't know if this transcendent creature refers to the senior generation of the elder who destroyed the world, and that the mysterious corpse of the ancient dark source, the Immortal Emperor. The senior of the annihilation old man has already half-stepped on the realm of the Immortal Emperor, and he may soon be called transcendent. Not only the creatures of the perfect world are highly concerned about the inventory content, but countless other beings in the world are also paying attention at this time. Strong individuals from all levels want to see what level the first perfect world to be listed is, in order to judge the status of their own level in the various heavens and realms. A small blurry figure appeared in the picture. The figure slowly grew larger, from a child to a teenager, and then to a youth. The breath it emitted also transformed from a faint candlelight, several times, until it became like a brilliant sun. In the perfect world, powerful figures from all domains are fully focused on staring at that figure. Is this the growth process of transcending the strong? The aura emanating from this figure alone is enough to startle the immortal king and make the immortal king tremble in the end. The numerous immortal kings in the immortal realm gradually flickered in their eyes, and the haze on their faces was swept away, replaced by an overflowing excitement. Qiyu laughed heartily. This transcendent strong person's cultivation is definitely far above that of the immortal king. As for what kind of realm he is, it is not something I can speculate on. The most important thing is that he has no dark aura on his body, which means that the strongest person in our world is not a dark creature. This is undoubtedly great news. The immortal king frowned and said, "But why is this way of transcending the strong so unfamiliar? Will such an existence leave no trace? Perhaps it has already fallen in an extremely ancient era." A top-notch immortal king immediately shook his head in denial, but his face also showed confusion. If it really falls, how can it be called a transcendent being? However, it is indeed strange. Did this most powerful person choose to stay out of the dark turmoil of the past? The immortal king of a foreign land, as well as the burial kings buried in the earth, are also puzzled. The aura emanating from this existence is completely different from that of the ancient artifacts from which they originated. This is the strongest one they have no knowledge of. In the dark sky of the deep sea, the faces of the 3 quasi-immortal emperors are now filled with shock. The Tsang emperor was shocked and said, This is actually the breath of a strange immortal emperor. Who is it? How could an immortal emperor be born without our awareness? Is it possible that This is actually the remains of the Immortal Emperor in the eerie ancient land. Before he was contaminated by the dark and eerie, said Emperor Hong with uncertainty. It should be like this, Emperor Yu nodded hesitantly. In that case, wouldn't we be able to know from this inventory what exactly happened to the corpse Immortal Emperor? In the future time and space, the Emperor of Wilderness in the heavens scanned the sentient beings with an expressionless expression through the river of time, observing the reactions of the inventory. How could they imagine that the Transcendent in this world was only in his 20s at that time? As the blurry figure in the picture finally became completely clear. Countless people in 9 days and 10 places were so shocked that their chins were about to dislocate. From Shizuan to Shiguo, from 3000 Daozhou to Jiutian, all those who know Huang are stunned at this moment. Is this my disciple? Meng Tianjing was all dumbfounded. Just now, he always felt that figure was very familiar, but he wouldn't even think that the strongest and most transcendent person would be his disciple. He swallowed his saliva and thought, is his disciple the reincarnation of the strongest or an incarnation? No wonder the talent is so demonic. The most shocking thing, of course, is the wilderness of this time and space. Others are all foolish. What? After all this time, I really am the reincarnation of the ancient emperor. No. No. That's me. Recalling the blurry scene just now, isn't that his journey of slowly growing up from Shimura? Feilu's novel, Fei Wants You to Look Good. Chapter 6. The breath of the Immortal Emperor of the Wilderness, shocking the heavenly mighty ones. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 9 days and 10 places, all those who know the wilderness are boiling. Surprisingly, it's really barren. He will become an immortal emperor in the future. The strongest in our world. Will the future wilderness destroy the foreign land? Ha ha ha. That's great. It's truly an honor for us to have a character like Huang born in 9 days and 10 places. Oh my God. Little Stone can actually go to that point. I'm not dreaming, am I? Since I was young, I thought this child was promising. And those who have already formed a grudge against the wilderness feel like the sky is about to collapse. This wilderness has almost climbed to the summit with an invincible posture, growing at a fast pace and soaring, as if they can already see their own demise in the 9th heaven. A noble family ancestor was born. Enemies should be resolved rather than settled. Kill those descendants who have committed heinous crimes. No, discard their cultivation and send them to Huang for his disposal. Show full sincerity and ask him to hold his hands high in the future. The Chongqing Wang family, on the other hand, was in a state of complete silence. They had already formed a grudge against the wilderness and had no room for turning things around. Wang Chongqing's expression was extremely complicated, and he only felt the cold sweat soaking his back. Reverse the 9 lifetimes and become an immortal. That little beast has such great courage. The 9 dragons of the Wang family were all glaring and gnashing their teeth, filled with infinite resentment in their hearts. Humph. Even that little beast can become an immortal. Can it still become an immortal emperor? We can't let him grow up. We must strangle him. Meng Tianjing will always be unable to protect him. Besides, if our Wang family disregards the cost, can Meng Tianjing stop him? The desolation of this time and space had completely froze him, and he knew nothing about the reactions of all parties, with only one thought echoing in his mind. I'm too strong, right? In the future time and space, the Emperor of Wilderness calmly observes everything. As an immortal emperor, he can shuttle through the long river of time in a perfect world. Even if the past time and space are overturned, it does not pose any threat to him. Not only in the perfect world, countless beings on all sides are gazing at the figure of the wilderness emperor. The aura of the world seems to be able to shake endless time and space, and can destroy countless worlds with a raised hand. It has the courage to suppress everything in the world, with strands of imperial power permeating, and every strand condensed with all kinds of laws. Countless creatures from all over the world feel an immense reverence surging from the depths of their souls, almost with an impulse to collapse to the ground. Hiss. Are you joking? Is this a cultivator? I believe he is the creator or the embodiment of the world's will. This aura is too terrifying. What kind of realm is the Immortal Emperor? Oh my goodness. How could this wild emperor have opened up his own cultivation system alone at such a young age? And he even reached the pinnacle of it. Isn't it that? His cultivation system is stronger than the system that all cultivators in that world have been constantly improving since ancient times. What kind of demon is this? Crouching slot. How terrifying is the perfect world really? How could it create such a powerful wilderness emperor? I feel that one breath of the wilderness emperor can destroy our world 100 times. Is the world that can make it to the list so terrifying? Is the first one to make it to the list like this? The world is shrouded in bullets. Countless cultivators were so shocked that they were covered in goosebumps. Even the supreme beings in the 7 forbidden zones of life were stunned at this moment, feeling a tingling sensation on their scalp. The horror level of the perfect world completely shattered their values, and they couldn't believe it for a moment. The Supreme One said, This wasteland emperor, isn't it the one I know of? Everything is right. The chaotic ancient era, the immortal realm. Can we say that our world is the 9 heavens and 10 lands mentioned in the video? Another supreme deity replied incredulously, it shouldn't be. According to legend, the Huangtian Emperor broke through the immortal realm and became an immortal. However, the Huangtian Emperor mentioned in the inventory became a mortal immortal and broke through the immortal king realm upon reaching the immortal realm. It's probably just a coincidence. Reverse living for 9 lifetimes and become a mortal immortal, hiss. Someone can live for 9 lifetimes, I can't even live for a second. Becoming an immortal is not the end, there are also immortal kings, quasi-immortal emperors. Immortal emperors. Just in front of one immortal, we are like ants, and the realm above is simply unimaginable. Some supreme beings have a mental breakdown and say, ha ha ha. The time spent by the emperor of the wilderness in a battle is only tens of thousands of years, and our lifespan is only 10,000 years. We can only survive by claiming to be in the divine source, At this moment, Shi Huang was completely unable to calm down, and his desire was beyond words. I must ascend to the immortal realm. And become the invincible immortal emperor. Whether it is Wuxia or Emperor Zun, compared to me, they are all ants. Yi Hei's expression in this time and space was excited, staring at the figure of the Emperor of the Wild in his mind, feeling the blood boiling in his chest. Does the perfect world also have dark turmoil? And it feels even more cruel and terrifying than our world. The Emperor of the Wild, who ruled for eternity, is truly admirable. If one day I reach his level, wouldn't those who caused turmoil in the Forbidden Zone be able to be completely eradicated with just one breath? The Black Emperor was also shocked and couldn't close his dog's mouth. After hearing Yi Hei's murmur, he rolled his eyes. Xiao Haizi, no, Xiao Yi, why do you dare to think so? Even the Wuxia Emperor is far from reaching the realm of the Immortal Emperor. At best, you are a great holy body, and becoming an emperor is enough. It's better to consider what to do now that the ancient tribe is recovering in large numbers. In a certain ancient tomb, a chubby Taoist who appeared to be cunning had a painful expression on his face. Wilderness. Wilderness. Who the hell are you? And who am I? There must be some connection between us. But why can't I remember? Countless other supernatural beings feel a deep sense of despair due to the strength of the perfect world. Dominate the world. Emperor Yan Xiao Yan remained silent for a long time, and the aura emanating from the Emperor of Wilderness was much stronger than that of the strongest ruler of his realm. He felt like he was facing the current self when facing the Emperor of the Wild, just like he was once still the Emperor of Do. Although they are all the strongest in one world, the gap between the strongest and the strongest is like a natural barrier. Lin Dong and Mu Chen on the side were also deeply affected. In the end, it was Lord Mukin who spoke first. If the three of us were born in a perfect world, I believe we would not be much worse than this wasteland emperor. Just like Brother Shao, you can step by step reach the supreme realm of Duty in the world of Duki, soar to the vast world, and then climb up to the current supreme realm of domination. If you have the opportunity to go to the perfect world, you can still reach the peak. That's right. Lin Dong also said, ultimately, it's not that we're not as talented as humans, it's just that we're not on the same stage. Xiao Yan nodded, but it was unclear whether he had been convinced or not, even he himself. After all, he was no longer the young man who had lost his cultivation in Wutan City. He had been the supreme ruler for countless years, and could no longer shout a declaration of not deceiving the young man to be poor dragon talisman world. The three heavenly sovereigns were all gasping for breath, and the strength of this perfect world was completely beyond their understanding. Sigh. It seems that under the sword of the wild heavenly emperor, there is an endless world born or destroyed under the sword light. It contains endless Tao rhyme, and the cultivation of the immortal emperor can be equivalent to what level of our world is. The heavenly realm. Or the heavenly realm. The perfect world is worthy of its name. This world is truly perfect. I wonder if you have noticed it. In the perfect world, it seems that the heavenly way does not manifest. If it were not for the limitations of the heavenly way, the cultivation of the three of us would definitely not be whispering to each other, and we may not have reached the level of the wild heavenly emperor. The three of them were all sour in their hearts, yearning for a perfect world. The Daong dynasty, from officials in the court to princes in the palace, to the common people, as well as traffickers and soldiers. They gazed at the majestic figure of the wilderness emperor, their confidence in the heavenly talisman emperor inevitably wavered in their hearts. Can our world really make it on the list? Can the heavenly talisman emperor compare to this wild heavenly emperor? Feilu's novel, Fei Wants You to Look Good. Chapter 14. Forbidden Area. Supreme Stupid Eyes, isn't this our cultivation system? You are listening at novelfull.audio. This. I'm damn it. The wild emperor is also too rebellious, isn't he? How could this be possible? How can we let those old monsters who have lived for millions of years but haven't walked out of their own path feel so embarrassed? It's so terrifying. When introducing the experience of the wilderness emperor, I only knew that he had created a new cultivation system before the age of 200. But he's only 20 now. My goodness. This is the creation of a cultivation system. It's not the creation of martial arts. How could it be so easily opened up by the Emperor of the Wild? Hiss. Not just against the heavens. The Emperor of Wilderness is rubbing the heavens underground. Crossing the heavenly calamity and directly creating a cultivation system. And just as it was first established, it was incredibly strong. Countless unparalleled powerhouses in the fantasy world have gone crazy. Especially those immortal demons who have tried to establish a cultivation system. They are well aware of how difficult this is. A slight mistake is the end result of a dead end. Even if opened up, there is a great possibility that it may not be as good as the previous cultivation system. After all, the old path was continuously improved by countless strong practitioners who reached the pinnacle of the world. As a result, at just over 20 years old, Huang opened up a path beyond his predecessors. Better than those old monsters who have lived for billions of years. What a joke. The world is shrouded in bullets. At the moment when they saw the opening of the Wheel C secret realm, all cultivators felt their brains blank. Shockwave, doubt, fear, reverence. Countless emotions like whale waves and raging waves almost made them stop thinking. In the northern regions, Yi He was completely dumbfounded and felt his brain crash. What? Is this the one who created the cultivation system in our world? So, is their world with us? It's unbelievable. The Black Emperor beside him was stunned and speechless. In the major forbidden zones of life, a group of supreme ancient emperors have a restless heart and countless thoughts that cannot be sorted out. The light and dark supreme had a dull expression and furrowed brows. What the hell is going on? Wilderness has opened up the We'll See secret realm. The Qilin Emperor felt like he had vaguely touched upon the secrets of the chaotic ancient world. Why are there so many coincidences? The chaotic ancient era. The wilderness. Now even the Luanhai secret realm has come out. The cultivation system opened up by the wilderness is definitely the cultivation system of our world. Emperor Shi was extremely shocked, his lips trembling. Can it be? Can it be said that the perfect world's wilderness emperor is really the same person as the wilderness emperor in our world? Countless doubts linger in the hearts of the supreme ones. So many amazing coincidences all indicate that there are countless connections between their world and the perfect world in the history of their world. There must be astonishing truths buried. And the key to it is the Emperor of Wilderness. Perhaps as long as they continue to watch the inventory, they can solve all doubts. Huangtian Emperor. Isn't he becoming an immortal? How? How could he? Impossible. How could it be like this? Oh my goodness. What is hidden in the endless chaos of ancient times? The 7 forbidden zones, including the reincarnation sea, Shinshu, Shangcang, and all the supreme beings in the Taichu ancient mine, all experienced scalp explosions and extreme inner trembling. At this moment, they couldn't even speak clearly, and could only stare with a pair of eyes, causing an endless storm in their hearts. Their already shattered values became completely shattered at this moment. At a certain place on the burial Emperor Star, Duanda felt his brain shake violently when he saw the secret realm of the Kai Kai will see in the wilderness. Subsequently, countless years of dusty memories were released. He remembered it. I'm Chao Yusheng. Huang. My brother. I miss you so much. Even in the desolate world, there are countless cultivators who are focused and their eyes sparkle with joy. At this time, the wilderness, which has not yet become an immortal, may not be able to impress any cultivator with its strength, but the cultivation system created by the wilderness makes them crave it immensely. On the earth, the eyes of the 12 ancestors were wide open. Is it this kind of cultivation system that allowed Huang to cultivate from such a weak state all the way to the Luo Jin Xian? Zhu Rong couldn't believe it. The candle dragon felt like a scratch in his heart, extremely eager to say. With my witch race physique, if I could comprehend this cultivation method, I don't know what amazing effect it would have. Ho Tu opened her mouth wide and admired Huang greatly. She was shocked that Huang could open up her own cultivation system at such a young age. Their ancestral witch has always been practicing according to instinct, and Hudu also hopes to open up her own path, but she still has no clue Kunlun Mountain, Sanqing Daochang. What do the two brothers think of the system created by Huang? Does it have the potential to spawn cultivation methods above Dala? Tong Tian looked joyful. Witnessing the birth of a cultivation system has also benefited him greatly. After exploring and cultivating to the realm of Dala, Sanqing has not made any progress for a long time. Yuan Shi thought thoughtfully, taking oneself as a Taoist seed and developing inner secrets. Gave me some ideas. Those strong figures in the anime world were even dumbfounded, with goosebumps all over their bodies. They find it difficult to understand how shocking it is to open up a completely new cultivation system. What made them feel uneasy was the figure of the wild killing in all directions amidst the 9 heavens and 10 earthly robbery. That's what it's called, war. One person sweeps billions of enemy soldiers. In the world of pirates, as a war maniac, Kaido is both afraid and excited in his heart. The lips of the naval headquarters in the Warring States period trembled, and he felt that each of those foreign soldiers had the power to destroy the world of pirates. Thinking of the white-bearded pirates approaching, Zhang Guoqing said, "Fortunately, those pirates aren't as scary." In the world of Hokage, the former Hokage Takashi's face turned pale. Oh my god. The war in the perfect world is also too terrifying. Compared to it, the brutality of the Fourth Ninja World War is completely insignificant. Kakashi, the current Hokage, nodded after listening and said, "If I were in the war I participated in, I'm afraid I wouldn't even be as good as cannon fodder." In the recent Fourth Ninja War, his role was still crucial. Countless anime worlds have been deeply shocked by the terror of the perfect world. 3 things to do when reading. Read, collect, and reward. Chapter 7. Invincible all the way, pushing the heavenly pride horizontally, worthy of the gift of the Immortal Emperor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The impact on those creatures in the anime world is even greater, and their worldviews are shattered by the shock. One Piece world. The white-bearded lips trembled, and he never expected such a terrifying plane to exist outside their world. How could this? How could it be? Life expectancy exceeds 1,000,000 years. Rebirth from death. Eagle's eyes fell into a daze, filled with disbelief. Hiss. A sword that separates forever. Is this the realm that swordsmanship can achieve? In the world of ninjas, Naruto was stunned. Is that the real immortal? I'll just rename the 6 Paths Immortal Mode to the 6 Paths Mortal Mode. It's really embarrassing. Even powerful figures like Dragon Ball World, Super God Universe, and Box Court World have been completely overturned by the power of the perfect world. Frieza was completely dumbfounded. Grass. I thought it was an inventory of our universe. Is there any other world outside of the 12 universes? What kind of ghost world is this? Sun Wukong stood still, gazing at the figure of the heavenly emperor in his mind, and swallowed his saliva. Will there really be such a powerful existence? Recalling that I thought this inventory was a review of hidden powerhouses in other universes. He even wanted to challenge, and Sun Wukong blushed and his scalp tingled. He was afraid that such a strong person would be instantly killed, right? In the supernatural universe, the King of Angels, Caesar, widened her eyes and couldn't understand at all. In a world so technologically backward, how do living beings evolve? Demon Queen Morgana's face was shocked. That Emperor of the Wilderness was able to overcome the eerie darkness on his own. Oh my god. It's too exaggerated. In the world of the Box Court, the sky was filled with Shura gods and Buddhas trembling, and a storm surged in their hearts. Impossible. This is impossible. How could there be such terrifying creatures? I feel like this wild emperor can destroy our Box Court world 100,000,000 times by raising his hand. Is this the true deity? Oh my god. All laws are unbeatable in front of such creatures. At this time, the world of floods and wastelands. Kunlun Mountain, Sanqin Daochang. Tong Tian was quite surprised and said, I thought there wouldn't be too many planes in chaos outside of the wilderness, but I didn't expect this perfect world to be quite vast. Perhaps it was created by a chaotic demon god in the past, with laws and spiritual energy that were different from those of the wilderness, Yuanshi said. And what interests me the most is the cultivation method created by the Emperor of Wilderness, which can cultivate to the level of an immortal emperor comparable to the Great Luo Golden Immortal in such an environment. The Supreme Preceptor also nodded and said, and I don't know if the 2 wise brothers have noticed. The time it takes to achieve the Immortal Emperor realm in the wilderness is only 20 yuan, but we have endured countless years to cultivate to the Great Luo realm. The cultivation method of the wilderness is definitely worth learning from. On the Sun Star, Emperor Jun and Tai both saw surprise on each other's faces. This Huangtian Emperor is very powerful. Brother, if you fight against him, do you have the confidence to defeat him? Emperor Jun asked. Tai Yi's face was solemn, feeling the breath of the wild emperor. It took him a long time to slowly shake his head and answer. Difficult, I can only guarantee invincibility. To defeat him, I'm afraid we need to work together. The Dao Yun on the Emperor of the Wild is too solid, and his qi and blood are even stronger. His strength is not inferior to mine. Emperor Jun felt immensely moved in his heart. He and Tai were both extremely powerful beings in the same level, achieving great success in challenging various strong opponents after the Great Luo, without any defeat. Tai was even slightly better than him, making him invincible in the same level. Perhaps it's because the Emperor of Wilderness climbed up all the way by stepping on the corpses of enemies, that's why he was so strong. On Zhonghuang Mountain, Fuxi looked at the mesmerizing Nu Hua and said in confusion. Sister, what's wrong with you? Nu Hua pondered and said, in that perfect world, it seems that most creatures are not naturally raised, but are passed down from generation to generation. There are families and kingdoms, which is really interesting. Mount Sumi in the west, within the Immortal Sword Formation. In the eyes of the Yin Yang and Qianquan ancestors, there was a slight surprise. They were surprised that in a narrow world like the perfect great world, creatures like the wild could still be born. At this moment, a slight hint of surprise appeared on Luo Yan's face, and he sneered. Can such creatures also be considered transcendent? Under this immortal slaying sword formation, their entire world can be completely turned into flying ash in an instant. And if such creatures can be called transcendent, then shouldn't this place occupy the first place? Raising his eyebrows, he looked at the video indifferently, secretly pinching his fingers to deduce the position of the perfect world, but only saw a cloud of chaos enveloping him, achieving nothing. He thought regretfully, this wilderness must have been born according to the fate of the perfect world. If it were placed on a larger stage, his achievements would inevitably be limitless. Unfortunately. At this moment, the inventory screen shows the disappearance of the Wild Emperor, who is not angry but has the power to swallow all worlds. The vision spans millions of years, returning to the distant past, and Shihao's childhood experiences turn into scene after scene flashes. Digging out the supreme bone by the tribe, he drifted to the ancestral stone village and, under the guidance of the sacrificial willow god, embarked on an invincible path of cultivation, breaking through every realm. The little one in the picture gradually grows up, traversing the virtual divine realm, defeating all kinds of heavenly pride, obtaining the Kunpeng treasure technique, killing his clan brother Shi who took his supreme bone, ascending to the throne of the Stone Kingdom, and fighting alone against the strongest descendant of the three great avenues. The 7 gods in the lower realm harvest the powerful ones in the 8 realms. Shihao kills the gods, but he also curses himself and dies. He resurrects and soars to the upper realm, killing several first generations under the pretext of wilderness. He enters the immortal ancient secret realm, sweeping through the supreme immortal temple and ancient monsters, surpassing the younger generation and invincible all the way. During this period, he also encountered several crises, but all of them were initiated by the older generation. For example, the high-level officials of the heavenly human race plotted the Kunpeng law and the lay emperor treasure technique. He was imprisoned and forced to confess, and was rescued by the peacock god, who had been favored by the Lu god, and the mysterious Yi Qingxian. The ancient immortal realm was surrounded and killed by many sect leaders, and the killing strategy was also cracked by Qi Daolin and Lu Shen. All sentient beings in the world were deeply moved by the desolate heroism in the picture. At first, I only heard about the story of the wilderness. Where can I be more immersive than seeing the picture? Witnessing the youth of the wilderness, defeating one young supremacy and even veteran powerhouses on the path of growth, makes them feel excited. Countless creatures from the weak world were stunned, because they realized that perhaps the strongest in their world was not as strong as when they were a few years old. The perfect world, with 3,000 states, is greatly praised by the religious leaders watching the inventory. Looking back at the journey of the wilderness, pushing all enemies horizontally, truly deserving of the future emperor of the wilderness, it is truly extraordinary. I have known for a long time that this son has the talent of an immortal emperor. He is invincible in the same realm. Even as an old leader of the Void Path sect, we were suppressed to the same realm as him in the first place. If we all go up together, we will only be crushed by him. In the picture, many of the young supreme beings who were beaten and trampled underfoot are descendants of these religious leaders. At that time, these sect leaders secretly cursed the little beasts, wishing they could skin and bone them. Some even ordered to deal with the famine, but it wasn't too excessive. Those who went too far are now gone. And now they have completely lost the idea of being hostile to the wilderness, only hoping that the wilderness will not turn over the old accounts, not only because the strength of the wilderness has caught up with them, but also because they have finally gained an understanding of the incredible extent of the wilderness. So, what they wanted to deal with back then was the future Immortal Emperor. Fortunately, I didn't go too far. It's hard not to feel like I survived a disaster. Just thinking about it can cause a thrilling cardiac arrest. They dare not even speak ill of the wilderness behind their backs now. 3 things to do when reading. Read, collect, and reward. Chapter 8. Taking being an invincible path, starting operations in a foreign land. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In a foreign land, the immortal kings who have just calmed their emotions have sensed an unforgettable aura from Lu Shen's body in the picture. Once again, anger boils. It's her ancestral worship. She didn't die. In the Battle of Xiangu, a foreign invasion of the 9 heavens and 10 earths resulted in a significant difference in the number of top players between the two sides. The 9 heavens and 10 earths fell, and the immortal kings died one by one. The original complete territory was shattered into the current pattern, and the laws were broken to the point where becoming an immortal was difficult. The ancestral sacrificial spirit returned from the boundary sea and fought alone into a foreign land, 9 in and 9 out, making the immortal kings of the foreign land tremble with fear. Although the ancestral spirit ultimately fell, she left an indelible shame on the foreign land. Now it has been discovered that the ancestral sacrificial spirit has been reborn from nirvana, and the fear and resentment buried deep in the hearts of the immortal kings have all transformed into terrifying anger. Especially for the giants who almost died at the hands of the ancestral sacrificial spirits in the beginning, their killing planes exploded, countless stars were shattered into powder, and the void was twisted and shattered by anger. Is she still alive? All right. Then you can kill her again. To ease your hatred a bit. Humph. The old grudges have not been dispelled, and new grudges have been added. If the ancestral spirit lives, it will cause trouble for us. This wilderness that threatens our domain in the future is actually cultivated by her. Anlan sneered. The ancestral sacrifice spirit's strength is currently low. When erasing the wasteland, I can easily suppress it. However, that wasteland's performance has really disappointed me. I'm afraid even the pride of our emperor's clan cannot match it, and it has only shown its power in 9 days and 10 places. Such ants can still become immortal emperors. Yutua also showed confusion. Indeed, practicing in a world where the laws of the 9 heavens and 10 earths are broken, even if every realm breaks the extreme realm, how can one achieve the immortal emperor against the heavens compared to the younger generations in our domain who have achieved perfect realms? It's really strange. Kundi pondered inwardly and became increasingly aware that the breakthrough of the immortal emperor by the wilderness may be closely related to the origin of ancient weapon keys left in the 9 heavens and 10 earths. With such thoughts in mind, Kundi's eyes became even more eager and greedy, staring intently at the inventory screen, unwilling to miss any clues. In the immortal realm, Ao Sheng, along with the 3 immortal kings Tai Shi and Yuan Chu, saw the figure of Lu Shen, and their faces became extremely unnatural. After being killed 9 times in and 9 times out in a foreign land, Zhu Jilin went through countless years of rest and nirvana in the immortal realm. However, in the wars before Xiangu, he had already formed a grudge against Zhu Jilin, so he joined forces with Tai Shi and Yuan Chu to surround and kill each other, preventing her from rebirth. They all thought that the ancestral spirit had completely died, but to their surprise, she transformed into a seed and became the willow god in the lower world. How could her life be so hard? The Taisha immortal king looked anxious, not only because he knew that Lu Shen was still alive, but also because Lu Shen had taught a wilderness that would become an immortal emperor in the future. Taisha and Yuanchu immediately went to Aoshing Immortal Mansion to discuss countermeasures. They learned from the inventory that after becoming the immortal king, Huang would settle enemies in the immortal domain. They didn't think there was anything wrong at first, but now they only feel a chill in their spine. Shouldn't we be the enemies who have been liquidated by the famine? At first, I thought I shouldn't have resorted to violence against ancestral spirits. Is this troublesome now? Why are you saying these cold words? When the barbarians come, you'll just beg him for mercy like this. While Taisha and Yuanchu were in a state of anxiety, Ao Shing calmly smiled and said, "Everyone, the living immortal emperor is the immortal emperor. What's so scary about the wilderness?" Ao Shing knew that immortal kings like Qi Yu saw famine as a hope for the future, but he didn't think so. Instead of relying on famine, it was better to seize the opportunity of the barren immortal emperor and firmly grasp the hope in his own hands. He also doesn't want a young generation with 9 heavens and 10 earth to become the wasteland emperor above the immortal kings. He is worried about how to eliminate the wasteland under the protection of a group of immortal kings. Isn't his helper here? Yuan Chu's expression shook and he said, "What do you mean, Ao Shing immortal king? Is it difficult for you to think? To never suffer again?" Ao Shing scanned the 2 immortal kings and said solemnly, "Instead of waiting to be liquidated by the famine, why not take action first to become stronger? The famine is not important at all, what is important is his method of breaking through the immortal emperor. From the inventory, isn't the famine also ordinary? It may not be stronger than us when we were young. If he can become the immortal emperor, we cannot." Both Taisha and Yuanchu had some movement on their faces, and there was a moment of silence in the boundless sky. When I saw the figure of the willow god, my heart surged with sadness. Lu Shen disappeared behind the primitive gate, and I don't even know its safety. You must be okay, wait for me to find you. In the inventory screen, Huang has already marched into Wuliangshan and has been selected for the Tianshan Academy. During this period, the wilderness still shone brightly. Faced with countless heavenly pride in the 9 heavens and 10 places among the 3 major academies, the wilderness still maintained its unparalleled talent. Whether it was the heavenly pride in the Holy Academy's cultivation of the current world's law, or the heavenly pride in the Immortal Academy's cultivation of the immortal ancient law, its charm was all suppressed by the wilderness. It was during this period that Huang successfully opened up a path of cultivation that distinguishes himself from the immortal ancient method and the modern method. He used himself as his own path, freed himself from the dependence of the immortal ancient method on the principles of heaven and earth, and embarked on an invincible path with infinite possibilities. Later, due to the strange laws of heaven and earth, Huang entered the ultimate testing ground and crossed time and space to meet the young leader He Wushuang of the Immortal Age, a foreign land. The 2 sides engaged in an illusory battle, using various means to turn the world around and silence everything. In the end, they both perished. Huang passed the examination of heaven and earth and obtained the strongest cultivation technique created by heaven and earth, the Immortal Sutra. Seeing these scenes, the immortal kings of the foreign land finally felt a deep chill. How could it be? How could this damn lack of strength increase so much? In the eyes of the immortal kings, the previous performance of Huang could only be comparable to that of an ordinary Tianjiao from a foreign land. However, now, when Huang in the picture once again exerts all his strength, he can even fight to the death with He Wushuang. You should know that He Wushuang is the first generation of young people from a foreign land in the immortal era. The existence of invincible hands among peers. He is the most likely to advance to the immortal king among this generation from a foreign land. The immortal king exclaimed, "It must be because of the cultivation path opened up in the wilderness, with oneself as the seed of the path." This little beast really cannot be viewed with common sense. Impossible. How long has he only been on this road? Is this road really so treacherous? If Huang continues to walk down the path of using himself as a seed, won't the gap opened up by the exotic Tianjiao become increasingly vast? Kundi gritted his teeth and ordered the immortal kings, immediately mobilized troops to march into the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Don't hide the supreme pride of each imperial clan. Send them all out. We must destroy the wilderness as soon as possible. He Wushuang was Kundi's proud disciple, and Kundi knew better than other immortal kings how demonic his strength was at that time. Therefore, he can better understand how terrifying the barren path of cultivation is. If it weren't for the subtle cracks in the heavenly abyss, which could only transport cultivators under immortality for now, Kundi would have wished to directly send countless immortals, even immortal kings, to wipe out the wilderness. Upon hearing Kundi's order, the immortal kings became excited. Although sending a foreign cultivator to the heavenly abyss incurs a great cost, it is worth it to wipe out the wilderness. If it is the descendants of their own imperial clan who kill, the future will become the wasteland of the Immortal Emperor. It is an extremely satisfying thing for these immortal kings. 3 things to do when reading. Read, collect, and reward. Chapter 21. Immortal King Level Terror Collision, Star Sea Destruction Law Collapse. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the picture, Anlan laughed coldly. Just a drop of blood, just a remnant of history, dare you stop me? His massive Dharma figure looked down at the wilderness and said, in ancient times, your immortal king of 9 days also returned to dust under my spear. What are you? I made a move without saying much. He raised his hand, and the unparalleled divine radiance shone on the 9 heavens. The magnificent immortal light shook the universe, and he suddenly chopped it down. The stunning radiance turned into a heavenly sword, cutting through the sky and tearing apart the infinite law, heading towards Anlan. Anlan finally turned pale, his boundless killing intent boiling. In his hand, the spear exploded into the void, fiercely piercing towards the brilliant long sword. At the moment of collision, divine radiance burst forth, covering the sky, and the battlefield turned into a vast ocean of brilliant divine light, with infinite Tao rhymes surging and shattering. The vast world mourns, and even the boundless sea of stars outside the realm is shaken, with countless stars falling. If it weren't for the protection of the peerless great formation at the level of Emperor Guan Immortal King, the heavenly abyss would have been sealed with 5 Immortal King edicts, and the 9 heavens and 10 places would probably have been blasted into powder. A battle at the level of the Immortal King has made countless beings in all worlds feel a chilling chill. This scene is really shocking. When Anlan slaughtered the supreme human race with the body of the Immortal King, although they could feel the majestic and terrifying power, how could it be more shocking than a real battle at the level of the Immortal King? Just the aftermath of the battle swept away, destroying countless vast stars. Some of the strong players in the small world have already been scared to death. Their world is not as big as the space destroyed by a single battle between Huang and Anlan. In the Dragon Ball world, all the world gods, destruction gods, angels, all felt their scalp tingling and their expressions were filled with fear. Bylus was sweating profusely, dumbfounded and unable to speak a word. This terrifying and boundless power was countless times more terrifying than his role as a god of destruction. Wes, standing beside Bylus, had goosebumps all over his body, thinking to himself that if he were supervising an Immortal King-level existence, it would be unimaginable. He felt that even his own father was the first great priest under the king. It's completely impossible to resist the power of the Immortal King level, right? Even. Can the strongest king in the world of Dragon Ball reach the level of an Immortal King in the world of ninjas? Might Kai, who was practicing in the morning, kept swallowing saliva. This kind of power. The lady is so powerful. Is this a god? No. This has already surpassed gods, right? He recalled when his right leg was not yet disabled, when the 8 doors were open and Ye Kai could kick the 6 spots of 10 human pillars. However, even if he used Ye Kai with 100 million people, he couldn't achieve the terrifying and boundless strength in the face swapping. In the world of the box court, the sky is filled with self-isolation of the Shura deities and Buddhas, and everyone feels an indelible palpitations. Even if all the creatures in the box court world use the strongest means, they cannot withstand the aftermath of a confrontation between Huang and Enlon, right? White Yiksha's face turned pale, rolling on the ground. What a terrible world. In that world, the immortal king's terrifying existence is not even the strongest. There is also a terrifying emperor-level powerhouse that can rival the immortal king with just a drop of blood. My mother. The supernatural universe. All the angels were terrified to the extreme, even the king of angels, Caesar, had trembling lips and couldn't calm her emotions for a long time. A drop of blood. How could it be so terrifying? Kaisha's sacred body contains power beyond the level of a star, but how weak is it compared to that drop of imperial blood? It's better to compare a candle to the scorching sun. She is called a god, but her life level is inferior to that of an immortal king-level creature, not even a small insect or ant. Not even in the same dimension. On the other side of the Devil Nebula, Morgana was so shocked that she couldn't say a complete word, and the sound of lying down kept coming from her mouth. She curled up on the queen's throne, looking extremely frightened. The name Enlon, along with his terrifying and ominous shadow, has been deeply imprinted in the minds of countless beings in all heavens and worlds. 9 days and 10 places, the Supreme Strong still couldn't help but tremble. With countless goosebumps on their bodies they knew that the Forbidden King would be very, very strong, but before that, such strength was beyond their imagination. Deep fear and happiness. Fortunately, there is famine in 9 days and 10 places. Fortunately, there is a drop of Emperor's blood in the wilderness. It's too scary. If it weren't for the immortal king and land's power to block him, the 9 heavens and 10 lands would probably turn into a sea of blood in an instant under Enland's attack. All living beings would be wiped out. Yeah. At the critical moment, it was actually a young man in his 20s who turned the tide, or a young man who had been betrayed to a foreign land. With this in mind, their hatred towards Jin Taijun, who almost caused the famine, is even greater. It is not difficult to foresee that from now on, the Chongqing Jin family will be the enemies of the 9 heavens and 10 earths. At the same time, some people were completely scared out of their wits by Enlon. Even if Huang can stop Enlon with the blood of the emperor, there is more than just Enlon, an immortal king in a foreign land. Now that the exotic region is also looking at inventory, if we invade the 9 heavens and 10 earths in the future, we may not only deploy Enlon, the immortal king, right? In that situation, can we still withstand 9 days and 10 places? When waiting for a foreign invasion, it is still reliable to seek refuge in a foreign land. I can't hope for the wilderness, because it's impossible to let the wilderness go unchecked. The current wilderness is not an immortal emperor and cannot withstand the anger of the exotic land. The Chongqing Wang family, Wang Chongqing believed this, and he secretly said, I used to be afraid of the level of this little beast's evil spirit, but the evil spirit should have died prematurely to a certain extent. Now, all the dark forces in the heavens and all worlds have set their sights on him, and just one Meng Tianjing cannot protect him. Feilu's novel, Fei Wants You to Look Good.